What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to an agonizing episode of the Mets'd podcast. I can't believe we're doing this again. When will it stop? When will it end? Is it cooked? Is it cooked? We're not going to do a normal intro because, yeah, bad. What's going on, man? Oh, so bad.
I don't know. Follow us, Instagram, Twitter,
Oh, you're taking
TikTok, Spotify, listen, YouTube, watch it. It's terrible. It's really bad. It's just I wish this Mets team could just be normal for a second. They had to go be the worst team in baseball, then to be the best team in baseball. Now they're just one of the worst teams again. It's just there's no rhyme, there's no reason, there's nothing to take us from game to game. Tuesday was abysmal. It's one of the worst games they played all year. Thursday was one of their worst losses, blowing a 5-run lead to the A's. Who I told you they're not that bad. They really aren't that bad.
No, they are bad. The Mets
not
played
that bad.
No, they are
that bad
because the Mets played horrendously and they won. That's why the Mets played poorly. The A's are still a bad baseball team. I won't let you spin that on people.
They're 7 games over 500 since July 1st. It's not
wow,
that bad.
Cool. And the Mets were 10 games above 500 at one point. Like, cool.
We just got baseball images that precede unfortunate events. Like everything that just happened today was disgustingly
What
bad.
did they put? They put Hawk-Tuah girl?
Yeah, of course. Why not? Because what other baseball team would invite that person to go and throw the first pitch for them? The viral sensation, actually.
Yeah, the viral sensation.
I just, it felt like this was going to be fine. Like, it felt like we were just going to cruise to the win on Thursday and the episode was going to be cool. And then we'd have a nice vibe winning a series, going into the Marlins, be able to beat the shit out of them and then just be okay. And just win 2 series in a row and be totally back on track before the huge series against the Orioles and the big road trip next weekend. But it just didn't happen.
No.
It just didn't happen. And now, I don't know. Maybe I'm just sad because the last 2 weeks, I don't really see the light right now anymore with this situation. As well as the Braves are playing, the Diamondbacks and the Padres don't lose ever. They're going to face in the NLCS if they don't face each other in the wild card round. Stupid.
Yeah,
I just realized that and got mad about that. That the Braves are going to get to play the Brewers.
I know.
And the Diamondbacks and the Padres are going to play each other.
And Ronald Acuna Jr.'s hurt, and they're going to win the World Series because it happens. This is how it goes. They're getting hot at the right time.
I know, but I don't know. Trying to zoom out too much. Sorry if you guys listening, you wanted some positivity, but just
there's no positivity.
Looking at the Mets roster and looking at those teams, even looking at the Giants, who are playing a little better of late. They have a great starting 5 rotation right now. It's just I don't know. I don't see the path anymore. I really saw the path 2 weeks ago before this West Coast trip, and then losing this series really jammed into me. Like I no longer see the path.
Yeah, I really thought Austin Adams was going to like wake the sleeping giant, and it felt like he did because in game 2 they came out and they just kind of smacked the A's around. But then game 3, like they kind of did smack the A's around. But it's impossible to win a baseball game despite being up 5 runs when you walk 11 batters. And this has been a problem with the Mets all year. Walks. Quintana didn't have it from the start. It was very obvious. It felt like every inning, bases loaded, somehow got out of it. It was brutal.
They also hit the batters. They put 12 men on for free. This was the longest game Thursday in the pitch clock era, longest 9-inning game in the pitch clock era. 3 hours and 45 minutes. This game was so long, and it was camp day at Citi Field, so a bunch of kids were there at their camps. Middle of the 6th and 7th innings, all the kids were leaving because they had to be back on those buses by 4:30, and they had to get back home because that was when camp ends, and they can't see the end of the baseball game. It was just excruciating. Ronnie and Gary multiple times called it a slog.
Yep.
It was a slog. This was a painful game to be a part of and watch. The Mets lost a game where they knocked the other pitcher out in the 3rd inning.
I know. They smoked him.
Crazy. God. I also just so much pain because I was grinding out these notes and it was like things were good. It was 5-0 Mets by that time. So I was like, okay, Tuesday was terrible. We could flush the tape. No big deal. Great games on Wednesday and Thursday. Back on track. Beat the Marlins. Whatever. And now it's just not. It just isn't like that. It totally changes the tone of the episode. It changed the tone of the season that they couldn't come home and get right. They had the off day. And it didn't help at all. And now this team is still just dragging their feet, not able to do it.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I can see when it happened in the notes because James like Hawk-Tuah girl, ha 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 ha. I know Bader said what's up, Miss Drew Smith on days like these. Like that's when you knew the Mets were playing really well. And then all of a sudden there's like Quintana, like what's going on?
It just happened right in the middle of it. And it happened also. I listened to King's game on the radio. And Howie just couldn't stop talking about how much he loves watching a guy like Quintana. Such a change of tone from every other pitcher we've seen in the league. He's like, this is someone who actually knows how to pitch, moves the ball to every quadrant. But you know what else happened? Quintana has no stuff. He's scared to throw strikes. Because I got an argument doing Twitter, not an argument, just like back and forth. We're like, Quintana can't nibble against these 8 hitters that have a 200 batting average runners in scoring position. Again, I'll say it every episode. The stats don't matter. The batting average runners in scoring position doesn't matter at all. But Quintana's always been nibbler. He's always been nibbler because he's just a
thing. Yeah.
He's a sinker changeup guy, and that's his thing. If he was throwing pitches in the heart of the zone, he would get pelted. He would have been out of Major League Baseball 7 years ago. But he has really good command. And when you have good command, that gets confused with nibbling because sometimes your command's a little bit off. That looks like a nibble, but he's trying to throw strikes. He's not trying to throw balls. It's just you can't trust this stuff enough. And again, this A's lineup, I told you the other day, it's really not that bad. It really isn't.
I'll give you the lineup is not that bad.
That top of the order is good. Fucking JJ Bleday, what a ball player this guy is. He was all over the field this series. And that grand slam also was such a little nubby home run too. Like it wasn't even. He stole his first base of the season later in the game. It's just like where this guy can't do. God,
Mets have literally never hit a home run like that. Like off the inside of the bat, down the right field line. Every time the Mets hit a ball down the right field line, foul ball home run. Like it's a guarantee. It's impressive how many foul ball home runs they hit from the left hand side.
But like the Mets hitting one of those recently. Actually,
I think Jeff McNeil's the only guy. I think he's the one who sneaks those out into that spot. Otherwise, I don't think we've ever hit one there. It's it was frustrating because we needed a shutdown inning so badly after Vientos hit his second home run of the game. Vientos is a beast. Love the way that he's swinging the bat. Still needed a shutdown inning, and Quintana just went bases loaded again. They were talking about him on SNY a lot and kind of like lauding a little bit how well he's been pitching. And kind of the same ilk of what you said with Howie, where it's like, man, it's just a different pitcher,
changes everything.
Especially these days, you're seeing all velo, and he doesn't do it with velo. He does it with the command and preciseness and changing speeds and using that curveball and whatever they were saying in nonsense. I remember looking at my dad because I'm home in New Jersey and we were watching the game together, and I was like, yeah, but like, who cares? I was like, because if Quintana did, like, exactly like you said, if he threw strikes, he would be out of Major League Baseball because he'd be getting pieced up. And when he gets behind like this, when he starts walking guys, he has to throw strikes and he gets pieced up. That's why we care so much about on this podcast stuff, velo, movement, all these kind of things, because even when you're off with those, like you saw with Mason Miller was disgusting at the end of this game. But he started to lose it towards the end because he was close to 40 pitches. But it didn't really matter because his off is still 100 with movement with a wicked slider because everything is so good. And that's why we just stress so much how, like, Quintana, all intents and purposes, has had a nice year for the Mets.
Totally fine.
This isn't really like this is not a personal shot at him or anything. But, like, there was just a lot of conversations, I guess, on the radio too, but even on TV today about pitching, what's the word I'm looking for? Philosophies, and how, I mean, you saw that ESPN article from Jesse Rogers drop today about the possibility of the 6-inning minimum pitcher rule that Major League Baseball is looking into, which I think is an absolute disgrace and terrible. And the conversation was basically like, we need more guys like Quintana. It's like, no. You actually need so many less guys like Quintana. Again, look at the winning baseball teams. They don't have almost any of those guys.
No. I push back on that. Like, guys like Quintana are not a bad thing. Like, there is always going to be room baseball
4 or 5
like
starters,
Quintana.
yes.
But yeah, the problem is with guys like Quintana, where it's a location-based game. Quintana's also never even had good command. He's just he hangs around the edges. He's an edge lord. Like that's his thing, right? But yeah, and even today, you said he got pieced up. He didn't really get pieced up. He only gave up 4 hard hit balls. One of them was 95 miles an hour. And it's just that Bleday home run, that double by Nevin earlier that inning. So it's just like again, it's around the zone. It's a 35% zone rate. Like that's something I think that's missed, where it's like there are guys who are these command artisans that are still in today's game that do
Justin
great
Steele.
work. Yeah, Justin Steele is incredible. I love watching Justin Steele pitch. Because it's about being able to throw all those pitches for strikes. Like in this game, Quintana only threw changeup for strikes 15% of the time, 4-seamer 40% of the time, sinker 37% of the time. That curveball was the only one he was getting, but it still wasn't. People finally, I think the league has now swung back. We gave Quintana a lot of credit for that curveball becoming the primary pitch. He threw that ball 55% of the time. In the strike zone 55% of the time. He threw it 22 times in total, and the A's swung at 14 times because now they've adjusted. So I guess whoever the one person doing advanced scouting for the A's told them that Quintana throws this curveball in the zone all the time now, and every time they were looking at chops, they were ready for it. So with that pitch wasn't able to help him get ahead, then he was just chasing, because then against the righties he can't really throw that changeup very often. Fastball, it's not very good. It's 90 miles an hour. It's bad.
And again, it's like we can't even yell about like the offense, because the offense actually showed up in this series besides game 1, which that's going to happen. You're going to get cold every once in a while like they have been. But game 2 and 3, they hit the ball really well. Like they had good at bats. Mark Vientos hitting home runs, McNeil getting some hits. Pete Alonso was 4 for 4 during one of the games. Like the offense was much better. It was just, of course, now the pitching let us down. And it's just like, oh my God, it's happening again. It's like Groundhog's Day from the beginning of the year a little bit with this past like week and a half.
Yeah. And the pitchers at the end of the day, this is not a pitching staff to look at being like, oh, yeah, this is a good one. We talked about it last episode. I talked about it when ESPN Radio on Monday. That's just Tuesday, Monday. When did we draft the Hamptons? Monday. that when you get cold as a baseball team, you have to look towards your rotation, because rotation, those are your stoppers. That's where momentum starts to stop in baseball. And this team just doesn't have a guy you can really lean on or bank on. They don't. It's a lot of 3s, 4s, 5s in this rotation right now. It just is. And it does feel like the air got taken out this entire season when Kodai Senga came back, and then right away got hurt, because he was the one who was going to change the idea there. That was right after Christian Scott got hurt. He's the only other guy this season, along with, I guess, Minaya for the last couple weeks, and Severino up and down, whatever, who's been able to flash. Like, I can be someone who can win us a game as a starting pitcher. Because Quintana isn't that. Quintana's more of a pitcher that will, like, just pitch a good game. He's not, I don't know. Quintana, Blackburn had his first really bad start, which, again, this was going to happen. Like, Paul Blackburn's not an all-star. He's not an ace. We're like, he's going to get a couple quality starts. We're going to enjoy them. He had a couple. This one, he got smoked by the team that knew him the best. It's just this rotation was never going to be one that won us games. It was going to be one that had to keep us in them, and the offense had to win the games, which is hard to do that game after game. And now when we have this offense not really clicking right now, Brandon Nimmo didn't get into the game, and he never got into the game. Tyrone Taylor came up as a pinch hitter for Jesse Winker instead of Brandon Nimmo, which I guess was also lefty thing.
They said he had stomach issues. So, like, to be fair, maybe he had to poop. Like, maybe he's like, if I walk out on the field, I might be shitting my pants. I can't do that.
Maybe he had raw chicken again. But it's just they are who we thought they were. This is a 500 baseball team. They are that. They were that. They will be that in the future. Like, I had people in my mentions this week being like, oh my God, the season's back on. Like, oh my God, this team is dead again. Where I'm like, this team is the same team they were today as they were yesterday, as they were 2 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, and next month is a 500 baseball team. We had the miracle that happened where we got super hot. We could have rode a nuclear hot streak just to push our win total up a little bit, but now we've given it all back. And this team's exactly back to where we started. And now this is just what we are. Right now we're 3 games over 500. After the weekend, we might be 4 games over 500. We might be 2 games over 500. You know what's gonna happen at the end of the year? We're gonna be 4 or 5 games over 500. Maybe 2 games, maybe exactly 500. This team going 81-81 would be so perfect. That's just exactly the way this purgatory season has to end. But that's just it. That's what this team is. I don't know. It sucks. You want to be teams like the A's, but I don't know. You swept the Padres. This is the give back for that. Like, baseball always fucking evens out. Like, it's the whole.
You swept the Padres. You swept the Yankees. Like,
this whole thing always comes back together. This is baseball, guys. This is life. Like, this is it.
Yeah, but it sucks and I hate it. But I also love baseball. But I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it because it just even I'm gonna be a little sad boy here for a second too. It's like the Braves yesterday, like against the Giants. First thing, Michael Harris, first at bat back in 2.5 months, grand slam into McCovey Cove, the first grand slam ever hit into McCovey Cove. Like, what the fuck? Like, we just don't get that. We don't have that kind of voodoo power. I wish we did. Like, Brandon was so good before the All-Star break, and then the All-Star break happened, and he's been a shell of himself. And it's just so annoying.
And there's also, like, McNeil had some great at-bats in this game. I think he saw like 24 pitches in his first.
He had 2 10-plus pitch at-bats, which is almost never happens in a game.
Yeah, I was tracking it because I'm trying to like get a little better at like anticipating some of these stats. So I'm not frantically looking, and I'm 4 minutes late on Twitter, and everyone gets the impressions I thought I was going to get. But he was on pace. If he had another 2 at-bats in his games, I've seen the most pitches in a single game of any hitter this year.
Whoa.
Because he had 24 in his 3 at-bats. So again, he wasn't on pace. We've had some long at-bats. Joey Ortiz saw 38 pitches in the game.
38?
In one game. And there were like 7 other hitters who had seen 30 pitches in the game. So I was like, okay, wow, Jeff can do this. And he was swinging the bat well, the foul balls, finding the hole. He had that nice double down the line that got towards the first run of the game. And then the weird decision of Mendoza, who, again, most of this year has taken a lot of decisions and pushed a lot of the right buttons over and over again. Like, even this game, putting Mark Vientos in the 2-hole, such a good button push. Has the 2 home runs. He looks great there. Like, that's now a spot where I can see Mark Vientos hitting the rest of the decade. I don't know. We'll see. But I gotta give Mark Vientos some credit too after this, because everything, all the positive went to negative. We still have to do some of the positive stuff. But then taking out McNeil, pitching him with Alvarez against the lefty, and then Francisco Alvarez making it out in one of the most bizarre ways possible, where he had a little number in front of the plate. He took 1 step half out of the batter's box, made contact with the ball when he had 1 foot in the batter's box, 1 foot out of it, and was called out. Good call by the ump. Heads up call by the ump.
One of the only calls he got all game.
Yeah, Langler's pointed into it as well. Langler's also a pretty good ball player. But weird move where Alvarez has looked like a shell of himself for going on 6 weeks now. Jeff McNeil has, again, in this game, even the one you're just playing right now, even going back a few weeks, taking some of the best at-bats in your team. And had an at-bat that came up, Alvarez spot came up again. He put a good ride into a ball against Mason Miller, but a guy like Mason Miller this time, which is, imagine if I said this 3 months ago, I'd almost rather have McNeil hitting against Mason Miller than Francisco Alvarez. So it was just a weird thing, especially because then Luis Torrens was behind Alvarez, who also had a really good game. He had 3 hard hit balls in this game. before Alvarez came in. So maybe it's just Mendoza trying to show a guy like Alvarez, who he knows this team needs a greater spark than the one they actually need in this game, being like, I can't go to the playoffs. This guy's not hot anyway. So show him that confidence. See if you can find lightning in a bottle, get him back on track. But again, not blaming him, but just usually pushes a lot of the right buttons. I didn't think that was the right one to push in that instance.
Yeah, I didn't hate it maybe as much. I don't think you hate it, but I didn't not care for it as much as you did. Just because lefty, get the right-handed batter in there. I totally understand it from that standpoint. And it was like, Scott Alexander was having a nice year, but you kind of know what he throws, and it is a little bit tougher on a lefty than it is a righty. All the stuff's always like going to be cutting into the lefty away from the right-handed batter with the sinker and the changeup. It felt weird. I didn't hate it, but at the end of the day, too, like
just nitpicking, just
nitpicking. Yeah. This series, though, specifically, Mendoza did make a lot of head-scratching decisions. It felt like going back to the first game of the series after they were down early by a lot, putting Jose Budo in the game for 2 innings and basically burning him for the rest of the series, when today could have really used Jose Budo after a quick hook for Jose Quintana. That was one of the more head-scratching ones, and then using Edwin in the blowout as well. It didn't end up really mattering today, but it probably matters tomorrow now because Edwin's now
definitely can't pitch tomorrow.
20-plus pitches, I think, in 2 straight outings. So it's like what are we gonna do? These little things are now starting to catch up a little bit. Where before, like you said, he pushed all the right buttons and it was working. This is one of those series where every button he pushed, besides Vientos hitting second, seemed to not work.
Yeah, and just to fill people in, I missed the game on Tuesday. Jose Budo entered in the fourth or fifth inning, whatever it was, but the Mets were already down by 6 runs when he came in. And then the Mets actually rallied after he came in and cut the lead to 2 or 3, and then Budo gave some runs up right back, and that was kind of the end of it. And then you have this game today where, like you said, it would have been perfect for Budo to have been the bridge from Jose Quintana to the late innings. But I don't know, we've given Mendoza a lot of credit for only really caring about the game he's in sometimes, but now it might be a situation where he might have overdone that. I understand these guys hadn't worked in a few days, but if Budo hadn't worked in a few days, you wanted to get him some work. Why throw him? And then I guess he got into trouble because maybe he wasn't playing throw him the second inning, but then maybe the Mets scored the runs. He's like, all right, now I'm gonna throw him second inning because now we're back in this game. But for him, and because he said he didn't get work in like 5 days, which, okay, I get that, but you burned him the rest of the series. You might have cost yourself a win by doing that, because if he pitches this game on Thursday, I think it's a significantly better chance the Mets win, besides for Brazoban and Reed Garrett giving up those runs in the 56th innings.
Yeah, because Brazoban's been pretty unspectacular so far with the Mets.
Which he always has been.
Yes, and we did say this. We were like, nice pickup because we gave up nothing for a reliever who has the ability to get outs, which is something that we desperately needed. But unlike a lot of other people in the Mets world, we were like, he is just a reliever. Like, he's not being brought in to save the day. This is Huáscar Brazoban.
He has options.
Yeah, he has options. They could send him down tomorrow if they wanted.
They might.
Why not? You can. Who cares? Like, see you in 2 weeks, Huáscar Brazoban. But this, like him struggling. Reed Garrett looked really good in his first appearance back. Looked really bad in the second one. So it was like, really could use you coming back. Like, you know what this team misses so desperately bad?
Dedniel
Nunez. Like, oh my God, when's he going to come back? Please come back.
Reed Foley was also shut down again with his shoulder impingement. They said the return is no longer imminent. And also in this game, Reed Garrett, similar talking about Quintana, he didn't throw one sinker in the strike zone. It was the pitch he threw the most.
Yeah.
It was just he very clearly didn't have it. Like, watching with the mound, he did not. And it was only the 2 hard hit balls against him, but it was just enough. And it was the command, it's the walks, it's the beating around the strike zone. And that's the most excruciating part of the watch of these games.
Yes.
Is that these Mets pitchers just put everyone on base. Everyone. It seems like maybe it's not, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna say it's like their game plan to be or not be like nibble around the strike zone, but it just seems like there's so many walks. It seems like it's not the thing. The team might be being like, don't be afraid of a walk. You know what I mean? Be afraid of the loud contact, some shit like that.
I was thinking about it when I was watching the game because, like you said, they were missing, but the misses were really close.
Everyone was close.
But they were balls. Like, they wasn't like 50-50s or like, maybe that should have been called a strike or whatnot. Like, the guy missed a call once in a while, but for the most part, they were close pitches, balls called balls. And I was thinking that, do the Mets do this because they know a lot of these guys just don't have the stuff? So they're like, if we put it on the edges, they can't do as much damage as if they throw it down the middle. Like, we would rather give up a walk than give up a home run. Like, is that kind of their thought process? Maybe is that a thought process? It doesn't feel like it should be because, again, like, put a ball on a tee and have the guys hit with infielders. You're still going to get out 70% of the time.
I think it might just be more of a roundabout reason because a lot of these pitchers and this Mets staff, again, because they don't have this crazy stuff, not that they're intentionally throwing it on the edges, but it's a lot of sinker, splitter, cutter, changeup guys. So those are just pitches you have to put in the edges, or else they're not going to be effective pitches. So like we have a situation where again, like in this game, the relievers, Maton, Garrett, Brazoban, all sinker, changeup, cutter guys. Basically, all of them have at least 2 of those 3 pitches. Like that's just what they throw. So if those are the pitches that you throw, you have to access to the edges, or else you will get pieced because none of these guys throw those pitches 100 miles an hour. So it's just, I think it's more of a function of the personnel than like a philosophy shift. But it's just this is personnel of 500 baseball team.
Yeah,
it was then, it is now, and it will be in the future.
Yeah, the only thing
that's not the worst thing. Just watching it now, it's like,
yeah, like the lineup I think is good. Like I genuinely do think like we have a good offense. Like
that's brothers here.
That's one thing that is for sure. It's just this pitching, and we knew this was going to make or break this team. And right now, they're breaking this team a little bit.
And it's in function of where the offense is still quite good, but it's no longer nuclear. And the only guy who I think is really right now swinging like quite a consistent bat is, and again, similar thing I just said, was then, is today, will tomorrow, Francisco Lindor.
Yep.
He's riding a 9-game hitting streak. The power has gone away a little bit. He only has 1 home run in his last 15 games, but like even over the last month, we're still looking at about a 900 OPS. Over his last 30 games, a 301 batting average. Over his last 15 games, a 308 batting average. Over his last 7 games, a 400 batting average. It's just game in and game out. He's still there. He's getting on base. He's being a fantastic leadoff hitter. He's doing everything that can be asked of him. Pete also in this game had the 4-for-4. Felt great. Felt like there was a bit of a corner turning. And then he had some other poor at bats towards the ends of the Thursday game. Yes. So it's just like, it's still just being the same inconsistent Pete. But I still think he's doing better. Like I think overall, like he's in a much better spot. But it's just no one right now is able to, like, to take the bull by the horns and go nuclear. I'm going to, and like Vientos almost did it today. He did.
Almost did.
We had to get a couple guys on base, maybe some of those homers, but it's just so right there, but it's like so close, but so far. And that's how it feels.
Yeah. And after the game 2 win, like after Austin Adams did the, oh my God, to the Mets, and when he struck out Alvarez.
I told Alvarez, get the fuck out of here, something like that.
Yeah. Get the fuck off my field or whatever. He told him, get the fuck out of here, you motherfucker. I think it might've been. I was like, okay, hopefully this wakes them up. And then they did swing the bats well that next game. And I'm like, man, okay, that's a good response. The Mets haven't really responded like that often this year. Love to see that. Maybe they still got some fight left. They came out swinging the bats hard today. I was looking at my dad. I'm like, you know what the Mets should really do? Just try to sneak in a little Pete Alonso extension here. If they extend him, they're going to go to the playoffs. So I was like, the vibes will completely change. You're going to see Pete go on a crazy tear. And then Jose Quintana give up the grand slam. We're like, oh, we're right back in this game. And he gave up the grand slam. And it was really, really frustrating watching on TV. One of the few times Gary, Keith, Ron, well, Keith wasn't there, but Gary, Ron were just like annoying me, was Gelbs got on the mic to talk about the 6-inning minimum pitcher rule, which, in case you guys don't know, Major League Baseball is, I guess, looking into possibilities.
Such a bullshit media float.
Yeah, of making a 6-inning pitcher rule where the starting pitcher must go 6 innings unless they've thrown over 100 pitches or given up more than 4 earned runs or are injured. They can come out of the game early then. And that conversation took over the entire inning while walk, grand slam. Like all this stuff is happening. And in the moment, I'm like, one, I hate the conversation because it was really old man baseball and it was stupid and it was dumb. And it, I think, actually takes away the competitive spirit of baseball by forcing a pitcher to do something certain like that, which I think is really dumb. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But in the moment when like the game all of a sudden started to matter again, I'm like, can we please talk about anything else? Get Gelbs off my fucking screen. I don't want to hear this guy.
Yeah, I think that's just because it was a 5-0 game and it was a hot story this morning.
Yes.
I guess we'll just close out the series and me and you will talk about it because I don't think anyone else wants to hear about the Mets that much more.
What else can we talk about the Mets real quick? Vientos, great.
Awesome.
Jose Iglesias still gets hits.
Vientos is the highest OPS of any third baseman in the National League by a lot over Alec Bohm. Like 70 points over Alec Bohm.
The Mets definitely tried to make Hawk to a girl the new Grimace. No doubt. That was 100%.
So legitimately, a little bit embarrassing, I think.
Oh, major embarrassing, yeah.
This team is obsessed with marketing. We know that well, except we know marketing that us. Besides marketing, specifically Mark and I. But this was clearly a situation where they were like, we need to do something wacky and zany. Let's get some clicks. And they tried to do something. They put her on the they put her on the podium for an interview, like in the
I didn't see
press.
That. That's crazy.
Yeah, she was sitting at the table, and like there was a picture of her in the microphone. Someone tweeted. So I don't know if it was her doing a spoof, but she was sitting up there, and it's just I don't know.
Nothing against Hawk to a girl though.
Nothing against her at all. Capitalize on your moment, but for a Major League Baseball team to be like, yeah, the girl who was famous for saying that,
She
She gave
spits
some
on
good, gave
it.
some good head. Like, let's have her throw out the first pitch. It's crazy. She wore the Tennessee baseball shirt, which I thought was actually kind of a good touch. I'm sure she likes baseball. She's from Tennessee, but also just like so bizarre. This team of all as bad as they're playing, like, yeah, let's get this girl to throw a first pitch. Like trying very hard to be another viral moment sensation. They might have gotten a little too obsessed with what they had in July. They might have flown a
Yeah.
little too close to the sun. Icarus's wings may have melted a little bit, but I also there was something that annoyed me on Monday that I don't know
Oh,
if people saw. It
yes.
was kind of low key, and it shouldn't, but it did. Where the Mets came off this road trip and they were reeling,
Yeah.
and long road trip, four cities, tired. They were like, we have to reset. And then I see that Jose Iglesias does a live concert of OMG, and I was like, oh man, this is the flip side of all this shit where
Yep.
you're not focused about baseball and you're winning, and that's cool. Now you're not focused about baseball and you're losing. That is not cool. And I hated seeing that. There was an event that there was being advertised on the radio about Jose Iglesias OMG meet and greet with a live performance. I was just like, oh, this is now cringe. And then
Getting a little cheesy. When you
Austin
lose,
Adams
it's cheesy.
and then Austin Adams does the thing, which like I didn't have any problem with Austin Adams doing it. He was
I really
cut
didn't.
by the Mets. He got a big strikeout, and you know what? Like you act this way, like you can that can happen, but also you have to respond. I like that Edwin said after the game, like that's not okay to happen
Yes,
in our
I
field.
love that.
I like that Lindor like went around the bases and did it. He said it was to the Mets bullpen. I think it probably was to the Mets
And
bullpen.
Jesse
The
Winker, when
bullpen's
he got
also
the
there.
hit. Yeah, when Jesse Winker got the hit, he gave like an emphatic slapping of the
Yeah.
ass, turning the page.
So again, like that's baseball. Like that's gamemanship. That's part of it. But then to keep doing this stuff off the field. And again, Jose Iglesias is still playing amazingly, but he did make a kind of an error that opened the floodgates on Tuesday. And it's just it comes back to stuff that we were all saying when this team was one of the worst teams in baseball in May, where it's like it's fan engagement, it's marketing, it's a lot of things that seem to be on the forefront. Like this weekend's all these OMG giveaways.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
And it's like this team just lost two series in a row. Could have easily been 4 series in a row and have fallen out of the playoff picture. So it's like, and then it's all the little tiny things where on Tuesday night the Mets have their cheap Tuesday deal because the A's are in town, get a good crowd. Next Tuesday, Orioles in town.
Nope,
no cheap deals or good teams in town. We're not giving you guys any discounts because you want to come to the game anyway, see a good team. So it's just these little tiny things that the Mets are doing as an organization that just continue to eat at me, and it's very annoying. And as this team drifts back to 500, it's going to wind up 3 games out of the wild card race. I'm definitely gonna think about them a little bit once we get to December, January.
definitely. All right, now let's talk about other baseball stuff. Like we said, the 6 and one more
thing. I just want to give David Peterson some credit. He's pitching really well. He's weirdly been the stopper for the Mets this year. He's 7-1 with 3.04 ERA. If this was 1981, people would be talking about him for like down ballot Cy Young votes. Like truthfully, the Mets have won 9 of the 12 games he's pitched this year, which is crazy. So like I tried to figure out like what's going on, like why he's better. He's throwing his pitches a little bit harder. His sinker has more movement, a mile an hour harder. You see how unemphatically I'm giving these pitching notes right now because I gave these and I was like super excited. I thought the Mets were going to win the series. His slider has more movement. His changeup has 3 more inches of drop and is running less, so it's more of an up and down changeup, but still has some fade on it. He's also adjusting how he's attacking hitters. All the fastballs he throws now are high. He used to mix up his zones a little bit, but now he's like, fuck it. Like I got the extension. I'm just going to throw high fastballs. And especially now, he's doing it. He's really having a nice even 5-pitch mix against the righties with the fastball, the sinker, the changeup, the slider, and the curveball. I know you don't like sinkers to righties a lot from a lefty, and
No, I don't. I have no issue with that. I have the issues with it. I only have the issues with the lefty changeup, righty changeup. That's it.
Okay, yeah, because he is throwing a lot more sinkers to both sides of the plate. Like that's a pitch that's jumping, and especially against lefties, he's throwing significantly fewer fastballs. In 2022, he threw 40% fastballs to the lefties. Last year was 25%. This year it's only 14%. So that's a clear indication. Like I'm gonna stop throwing this pitch. I think it's because his fastball is bad, but it can sneak up on people, and the sinker's actually good. So it's like, yeah, why not? And he kept trying to use that fastball as the put away pitch. I think he was, at the end of the day, he's like, this just isn't working. So now it's just a lot more sliders, especially when he's ahead of the count. It's predictable, but it's working. He has the 8th highest ground ball rate in the league for any pitcher of 70 innings, 55%. And something else that's weird, because I was like, Dave Peterson, this stuff still isn't that good.
No.
He's not striking anybody out. He's still walking tons of hitters. His 7% strikeout minus walker is one of the 10 worst in all of baseball. His Sierra is one of the 10 worst in all of baseball. So there's a lot of good fortune behind him helping this. I was like, okay. He came back right at the end of May, and Starling Marte got hurt right in the middle of June. And then even in only the 7th innings David Peterson's pitched this year, he has the 29th best outs above average behind him in all of baseball, which is a volume stat. So it's like the Mets just playing really good defense behind him. And again, that's when Iglesias came up. That Lindor's amazing. That's when Starling Marte went down. So it all makes a lot of sense. But third time around, the Oilers still bad. All those like true talent stats are bad.
Yeah.
I think this is David Peterson doing his best Wade Miley. And it's like this classic Brewer shit, but it's working. That's fine.
He's just gonna be free pitcher for us like the next 2 years. Like that's
right.
the perfect thing about David Peterson. You can slot him at 4 or 5. do exactly what he does, win some ball games. But yeah, whatever. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's
fine, I guess.
Yeah, fine. All right. Let's be young men and yell about this stupid 6-inning pitcher rule.
Yeah.
Because I think it's genuinely one, it's not happening. There's no shot this is happening. This would alter the game of baseball that needs no altering, like whatsoever. This doesn't improve the game by any means. This is simply to appease the old boomer generation that goes, you need your starting pitchers to throw. They're not going long enough. My pitchers used to throw complete games every single day. What's going on?
I think there's 2 parts to the story dropping exactly today. And I think one part of it is that every time what happens this time of year, baseball leaves a news cycle.
Yes.
Once we get to the second, third weeks of NFL preseason, it starts to dominate Twitter, it starts to dominate the algorithm, starts to dominate the news cycle again. Because this is just we're in a football world. Everyone's fucking obsessed with football. Everyone's doing their fantasy football drafts. That's it. So I think baseball tried to get a little bit back into the spotlight. What?
You got give me a sneaky fantasy football pick right now for the people out there. Give me a sneaky name you like.
A sneaky one? I kind of like Ray Davis on the Bills.
Ray Davis, okay.
Yeah, he's like a mid-round rookie running back. He might be the bruiser. I think they've said they want to stop giving Josh Allen the goal line touches, and Ray Davis is bigger than James Cook. And then also another stupid weird one. I'm so in zero running back mode right now. I'm not even looking at running backs.
Braylon Allen,
great handcuff, but Chuba.
Ooh.
Chuba's gonna get the rock in Carolina for no reason. So like I'm weirdly in a Chuba. Also, I like Jalen Warren. I love Pacheco. I offered you a trade Pacheco at Dynasty League today.
Ooh,
but
I'll take a look.
Back to baseball. The other thing that happened, as every car in the world honks outside my window, it's rush hour on Graham Avenue, baby. Tuesday night was one of the best pitchers duel we've seen in modern baseball in the last couple of years, with Chris Sale going up against Blake Snell. And Giants and Braves, 2 games in the thick of the playoff race, and we watched almost the whole game. It was fucking awesome. Strikeouts, weak contact. It was 2 guys in such control, big lefties. Like we were having a talk with our friends that like baseball is the only sport where you could be watching a 0-0 game, be like, this is a fucking awesome game. Like this is great. Like I love this because it is. Like I think that it's truly still probably the most beautiful thing in baseball to watch some starting pitchers go at it. Like in control of the game, moving it around, playing the mental game with the other team, playing the mental game with each other. Like it was kind of like I was excited to see who was even going to stay in that game longer between Sale and Snell. And they both got to the 7th inning. I was like, this is great.
Snell had a no-hitter through 6 again.
Yeah. I think he had 13 strikeouts. I think Sale had 11. Like it was just like, this is fucking awesome. Like this is baseball. So I think that happening plus baseball missing a news cycle, they leaked this rule that I can't stress enough is utter horseshit.
Horrible.
It's cockamamie. It's bullshit. It totally is. Like, there's no way they ever do this. And I hate in all of these rule changes we've had in baseball the last few years that they keep pushing things that keep killing strategy and keep killing what we can do with the team. I hate the 3 batting minimum rule. I understand it was getting annoying that we were like doing pitching switches every at bat, but who the fuck cares? Like, it's so stupid. Like, I like it now a little bit more because like relievers are more valued that can get out both sides, hitters on both sides of the plate. So it's valuing better baseball players.
Sorry, Jerry Blevins.
Right, yeah. Sorry, Jerry Blevins. Jerry Blevins' hair looked so good in pregame, postgame today,
great.
dude.
Yeah.
Unbelievable flow. It was all up and out there. It was incredible to see. But I just hate that they keep shrinking strategy. Even the shift. I understand that it's helped the game, put more balls in play have turned into hits. But like, fuck that. Like, why can't I play my defenders wherever the hell I want to? Like, why is there a rule? This guy has to stand here. This guy has to stand here. That's stupid. That's not baseball. This is our field. This is our canvas. We should paint this any way we want. And this would be the absolute amalgamation of all these horrible strategy rules coming together. It's dumb as hell.
I mean, the NFL like does have a rule for how many guys you can have on the line. Like there are rules there. So like
I don't know as much about
there's defensive 3 seconds, you know, in basketball. I will say the defense moving thing doesn't bother me nearly as much as this one because
I again coming off the years, I don't hate either of those rule changes, the bad minimum or the no shift. But I just think it continues to open a door for these rules that are ending strategy and ending creativity inside the baseball diamond.
Yeah, so me and my dad were talking about this while we were watching, and I'm glad that he was on my side here of like this is a horrendous rule change because one, today was a great example of it. Jose Quintana was not at 100 pitches. Jose Quintana
4 runs.
But up until that point, like even before the JJ Bleday home run, like if that was a righty, he's coming out of the game 100%. But it's because JJ Bleday was a lefty, they left him in. But with those rules, he would have to stay in because he would have 0 earned runs. It would be under 100 pitches, but the guy was 50-50 on balls and strikes in terms of pitches that he's thrown during that game. That's a horrendous start. And I think what a lot of people who talk about this rule or pro this rule or this or that forget that there are still plenty of pitchers. The good ones still go 6. They still go 7 pretty consistently why do I need to see, and again, I hate to take shots at Jose Quintana more this episode, but why are you forcing me to watch an inferior product that is not going to help you win the game? And then the conversation of, well, this will de-incentivize velocity because now you need to be able to go longer into the game. Like, no, it won't.
No, it won't.
There's no reason. Oh, I'm hurt. I'm out. Take me out of the game.
They're also just going to let guys get hurt, which teams do anyway, because of, again, I've talked about this before. It's a really evil paradigm in modern baseball where if a pitcher gets hurt in the major league roster, as long as they got to the major league roster, they're fine. They're getting a full year major league salary to get Tommy John surgery. It's okay with them. And the team is like, whatever, we'll bring another one up. Like I don't think teams really care about these pitchers getting hurt. And I think a lot of these fringy pitchers who are throwing the most effort because they need the most effort to prove they're major league caliber, major league worthy, get the major league salary for the year they're injured. So I think that's a horrible, horrible consequence of this modern game. Keith Rad made a good point in the radio that he said he suspected that because, and this is a roundabout take that I really actually like by the end of it, modern Little League, since we've been playing since before we were playing, pitch counts. Every big team, every big tournament, you can throw, if you throw 40 pitches this day, you have to have this many off days. You can go up to 80 pitches, then you need this many off days. Okay. So if you know that you're a kid and you're the best pitcher because you're pitching and you only have this many pitches, I'm going to air it the fuck out. I'm gassing it up. I can only pitch for this long. I know I threw 40 pitches a couple days ago. I'm not even tired. Like, I'm fine. I felt fine after that one. I still wasn't allowed to pitch because of the rules, not because of my body. So I think that teaches from a young age, air it the fuck out. And I think as you keep going up, because we have more numbers and more data, that the harder you throw a baseball, the more likely you are to get the other guy out. It is 1-to-1. It's clear as day. People pretend it's not true. There are elements of location becoming much more important, but that line graph is going up. The harder you throw, the more likely you are to get a swing and miss. The more likely you are to get a swing and miss, the more likely you are to get this hitter out. That's it. Game over. So just knowing that, it's hard to tell players not to because you're taking money out of their pockets. So yeah, maybe this rule in a roundabout way could, after 40 years, stop people from doing it because they have to do it. But I don't even think it's true. Then there's so much nuance in baseball you might not want this to happen. There was a game on last night, Wednesday. This is the Rays versus the Astros. Might be the only person part of this podcast right now who watched this game. But Zach Littell versus Ronel Blanco. Zach Littell was pitching totally fine for the Rays. He'd given up only one hit. It was a solo home run against Jeremy Pena in 5 innings. He was only at like 68 pitches. Took him out of the game after 5. The announcer was like, Littell looked really good. Took him out. But that was exactly 2 revolutions through the lineup. That he ended the 5th inning with a 9-hitter. Jose Altuve was up next. And also, 2 starts ago, because of the stupid Major League Baseball schedule, I got my one in an episode, he just faced the Astros. So this was the second time in a week facing this team. They'd all just seen him. Their good hitters were coming up again. The Rays don't score runs anymore because their lineup is bad. It's very bad, guys. It's really bad. They score a run a game if they're lucky. They had 1 hit. I think they had 2 total hits in this game. None went for extra bases. But that situation where I would want to take that pitcher out too.
Correct.
He just got through 2 lines. He just got through 2 revolutions. He was not 100 pitches. He had not given up 4 runs. He just faced the team the week before. And we don't know if we're getting another run. So get him out of the game because our bullpen's incredible and our starters are fine and our lineup is bad. Like, it's just, you have to play to your strengths. That's what that best part about sports, let alone baseball. Like, I don't want every single pitcher to have the same rules because not every pitcher is built the same. It's really fucking dumb.
Well, think about, just put this in context of other sports, right? Like, imagine if in the NBA, the starting lineup has to play the first quarter. They have to play the full first quarter. Nobody can sit. That's kind of what you're doing here in a way. Is like, I'm telling you exactly how and when you can play your players, despite teams like the Rays. Every winning team, all teams in baseball now, they make these changes because it gives them an advantage. It's about winning at the end of the day. And I feel like sometimes we do forget that. You want to win as many baseball games as physically possible. Shout out to Mets marketing. Want to win as many baseball games as physically possible. If us as an organization has decided that Zach Littell pitching the 6th inning, even though he's given up 0 earned runs and has 70 pitches, gives us a worse chance to win, why should we be Why should we be hurt for trying to win the baseball game? And that's really what this is at the end of the day. These moves are made because they're trying to win baseball games. It has nothing to do with these pitchers can't handle it. They're not tough enough. And I feel like that's a lot of the old head conversation. Because even with, again, I love Gary and Ron. They're so awesome, but they missed so incredibly bad on this take. They were talking about how back in the day, you used to really get pumped for big pitchers duels. I'm like, you still do. Tell me who the number 4 was for the New York Giants pitching up against the Brooklyn Dodgers. Did you remember? I don't think so. You want to see those guys? The pitchers duels are still hyped. Who gives a shit about the rest of them like we do still to this day?
Even just now, we were talking about Max Fried versus Logan Webb in a day game. Awesome.
Yeah.
Freak got hit hard a little bit, but like Logan Webb just threw 7 2/3 innings against the Braves lineup, who's been scorching hot. Like this still happens all the time. We talked about the other night. It's just, I think that people get obsessed with the negatives of baseball and sometimes forget the positive because there's still so many good things.
This is good. This will cause significantly more injuries as well.
Of course,
force people to throw. Like they're like, we got a big problem with pitching. Maybe this will take down velo. The guys are still going to throw just as hard. They're going to get hurt more,
and it'll probably take people out of jobs. Because they'll be less effective. Where now it's like a really good thing that a lot of teams do. Is like you bring on your starting pitchers a little more slowly, take them 2 times around the batting way, take them for 3-4 innings. Like then you can work up to it. It's
like
I
super don't think this rule is ever going to happen. I really hope it doesn't. This would be one of those that I would be like very, very vocal about. Your favorite word, the bastardization of the game we love, Major League Baseball. This would truly be one of the worst rule changes that the sport could ever make.
And again, I really think that this was simply just a social media play for Major League Baseball.
I hope so.
Between the pitcher's duel the other night that got tons of impressions on Twitter, between football stealing all their impressions, and then between the way that the article said it came out was like an anonymous executive leaked at a league meeting. They said it was an idea that possibly they could. It was like, what are you talking about? It's like, I don't know. Like, I understand that they to leak some new rules, you probably do want to float them and see what the crowd thinks. I think a lot of the crowd even liked it, but I don't think anyone is really thinking through this. I also love Max Scherzer's variation of this rule he's talked about before. I think he told us on this podcast a few years ago, where you have, like, let's say it's a 5-inning or 6-inning mandate for starting pitching. If you can't meet that, you just lost your DH.
Yeah, which that's at least a creative way that.
Yeah, it's arcadey.
It's a little arcadey. It's a little Michael K. make up your own rules to fit your own team's narrative kind of thing. But it's better than this. I still hate that. Why should the pitcher have any effect on what's happening on the offense? Like that doesn't really make any sense to me either. But
also, I don't understand. I don't think that at the end of the day, really, the pitcher not going 6 innings is again taking away from the game if they're not pitching very well.
I promise you, it will make the sport maybe less popular because you're going to be seeing fucking Jose Quintana throwing 6 every 5 days. You're going to be like,
you can't say Quintana anymore. You
fine.
put 2
All right, let me. Okay, sorry, Jose Quintana. You're going to see Bryce Elder throwing 6 innings every 5 days. And you're going to be like, I don't want to watch baseball because this guy makes me miserable.
But then guys get more hits, more offense, this and that. It all boils down to the same few issues that don't seem that hard to solve, but they just keep getting harder and harder.
I'm pretty sure baseball popularity has been like up over like the last 5 years. The game seems to be like genuinely in a great spot in terms of like the popularity of baseball and where it was 10 years ago till now. I think we're good. I don't think we need to fuck it up anymore.
I think by far the biggest thing that hurts the popularity of baseball over time is the continued strikes. So I think maybe Rob Manfred, his people should maybe start the collective bargaining early so they don't keep trying to lock the players out of the generational wealth that the owners get to turn over year after year.
Like we have so many good stars. Everybody knows him now. People know who Ellie De La Cruz is. He plays in Cincinnati. He plays in Cincinnati. Like I know. It's crazy. I don't know.
Keep trying to fix baseball. I still don't really think it needs to be fixed that badly.
Not at all. I'll tell you what, that's not the problem. If there is a problem with the game, if starting pitcher's not going 6 innings, a made up number, by the way.
Yeah, why 6? Like good pitchers still pitch that long.
And the pitch count at 100. This is another thing that they talked about in the broadcast that I liked. That's a fake number. There's no proof.
Bullshit.
Like some people's arms might be good for 190 pitches. Some people might only have 60 before their arms falls off. Like it's just a fake number that's round that we all decided we like.
Alex Anthopoulos has said famously, they were like, so how do you do your innings for pitchers year over year? He was like, we like to push them up about 20% year over year. We think that's safe. He was like, oh, how'd you come up with that? Like team docs and stuff? He was like, we saw the Rays doing it about 7 years ago. So we figured like they must know. So baseball's so hive-mindy. Like, oh, someone said 100 pitches is where it stops. Now we'll just use it because it's a pretty number. Like that number scientifically could be 127. That number could be 88. Like number's probably different for every single human being that ever steps on the mound. It's just stupid that we keep trying to homogenize a game because that's the opposite of what sports are supposed to be.
Yep, I agree with you. I hate that rule. I hope you guys too. And hopefully we never have to talk about it again because I hate it and I don't want to. All right, what are we going to do? We're going to do
quick prospect report. We're not doing a prospect report. Last week we told you guys, Mark and I recorded and we ranked our top 25 prospects in the Mets system. And we were going to put that last Saturday, but the vibes were so bad that we were like, let's just hold on to it. Let's win these games against the A's. Let's win a game against the Marlins. Put that next Saturday. Vibes did not get better, but we're not going to hold it on any longer. So Saturday morning, afternoon, whenever, YouTube release. I'll put the audio out too. Top 25 Mets prospects. It's beefy. It's like 45 minutes. A lot of clips on YouTube. It's a good video. So hope you guys enjoy that because we haven't done a prospect report in a little while.
Got a little media marvel for you too. It has nothing to do with Tim Healy. It has to do with Newsday. They won't allow him to mention Hawk Tuah Girl or even by her full name in his article apparently about today's game, which is insane.
And you know what the worst part is? The Mets are probably high-fiving right now in those meetings, being like,
Oh,
"Yep,
for sure.
everyone's talking
Wait,
about us. We did
did
it."
did the Mets themselves actually tweet it?
I'm sure they did Instagram or TikTok. I didn't check, but I didn't see
Okay.
anything from their main Twitter account.
I'm gonna check Twitter real quick if they tweeted anything about the first pitch. Cause oh no, I don't see anything.
No, they did not.
Wow.
They did not. MLB Maine did, and
MLB
SNY
Maine
did
did.
multiple times.
Whoa, interesting. So then they did this and they didn't even capitalize on it.
Well, I'm sure they did TikTok and Instagram. I'll check that now.
Okay.
But we got to preview the Marlins series, which wow, this
Ooh.
could kill us.
This could make me want to drink bleach.
Ugh.
Yeah, you just that one got you. You're like, oh man, that felt too real.
I don't know. Like we should have won this. We should have won this series. We could have. We didn't. We should not have won the last one. Like the
No.
Angels one still sticks in my fucking craw. It's just
Ooh,
like
sticks in my craw.
I don't know. The season could end this. The season could formally end this weekend. You almost got the football season with the Mets, but Friday night, 7:10, Sean Manaea versus Andres. My mind's so fucked up.
Wow.
Sean Manaea versus Roddery Munoz. Saturday, 4:00, Luis Severino versus Max Meyer, and then Sunday, the Roku game at 12 noon.
Ooh.
Everyone keep that one in mind. Paul Blackburn versus what's his first name?
Valente Belloso.
Valente Belloso, who threw a really good game this week against the Phillies.
Yeah, he definitely can't be good. I'll plant my flag in that. Never watching him throw a pitch, he can't be good. But whatever.
He comes from the Astros.
Comes from the he does. Okay, maybe. Well, if they got rid of him, that makes me think even less of him at this point. But I don't know. If you guys got a girlfriend, wife, whatever you got, your partner, maybe this is a good weekend to be like, hey, what do you want to do this weekend? You want to go out? You want to go to a restaurant? You want to go to the park? Whatever plans they want to do, I think you should hop on them because there's kind of no positive to this series. Like the Mets need to win every single game.
Mets Instagram didn't even mention Haley Welsh.
So why do they do this then?
I don't know. I think they just wanted to get a little viral sensation thing going.
But not on their own. You know what though? This builds into what we know. There's a little ineptitude there. So
yeah.
Whatever. I don't know.
Like
again, if you don't sweep the Marlins, going to be pissed probably. Going to be pretty upset. Kind of have to. I think the magic number I said we need 26 before this series.
They just need to get a jolt back. They need some momentum back. You got to get something going on here. It's just because you have Marlins and you have Orioles at home, and then you play 7 games against the Padres and Diamondbacks. Whereas you can't play baseball. These two teams have, I think, cumulatively lost 7 games since the All-Star break.
Yeah, we lost 7 games in a week.
They're blazing hot. They're good. If you don't get the good stuff happening soon, that's it. We'll just let a nice chance to make the playoffs slip through our fingertips, which sucks because you want to make the playoffs. It's the whole point of this game. And it's just and again, the schedule it's not this was another easy part of the schedule.
I know.
After the Diamondbacks, it's White Sox, it's Red Sox, it's Reds, it's Blue Jays. Those not very good teams. There's still a chance. You're still alive. You're not dead. You're just playing like shit. You just gotta play better.
They're not dead, but boy, oh boy, it feels like they're dead. That's how I'll say this. I'm not going to officially announce the Mets season over, but it feels cooked right now. That's at least how it feels after that disappointing blowing of a game against the A's.
Yeah. Just to highlight someone from the Marlins this series we haven't seen. Max Meyer, big time prospect, wicked slider, good fastball. He hasn't been as good since he got sent down to the minor leagues. He was pitching really well early in the season, and they mandate he throws his changeup more. Changeup's not very good. He has been throwing it a lot recently, so that's the pitch to hit. I don't know why the Marlins are telling him to do that. He's throwing it 30% of the time in the minors, now throwing it 15% in the majors. Again, he just can't really command it. Not that good of a pitch. Watch out for his slider and changeup, for his slider and fastball. He's a fun little pitcher.
And got anything else, James?
I don't think so. I think we did have from the rafters. I believe we have a Frankie Peppers update.
Okay, Frankie Peppers, what you got for us?
Yeah, we got something. So, Frankie Peppers, the return to end the episode.
Okay.
Boys, Frankie Peppers. Sorry if you hear
I think you hit something.
Places. I'm outside, but I don't know what to say after a series like that. How do you drop 2 or 3 to the A's? I know they're hot right now, but come on, you can't go walking 800 people in a game and expect to win. Some series the bats work, and then other series the balls work. But when the bats work, the balls don't work. And when the balls work, the bats don't work. I don't understand. I don't get it. You can't walk 800 people. And my doctor said, walking's good for me. The cardio is good, but you can't go giving out free cardio to everybody on a team. You just can't. But little concerned. But either way, as always, I appreciate you. I hope you boys are well. Thanks for listening to my Instagram.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you, Frankie Peppers. So that's a shining light. I'll make a promise to you guys this. If the Mets lose the series to the Marlins, 2 out of 3 or get swept, Sunday night we'll have a voicemail episode. So
Yes.
Get ready Sunday. If the Mets have lost 2 games, start sending them in. Messed up Instagram. I think we have to accept you, so just give us a bunch of requests. I'll check the inbox that day. So just keep an eye out there, keep active, and then we'll if the Mets win the series, we will not. If the Mets lose the series, we will, and we help tell you guys not to hold back.
No, yeah, of course. Let it rip. We don't work for the team anymore. You can say whatever you want. I think we do have a few reviews as well that we want to shout out. And shout out. No, we have one actually. I don't know how to say your username, but you went by T. Best Mets Pod, 5 stars. You guys are both a great listen every episode.
No, just T.
Oh, I thought you were telling me to take a timeout.
No, T.
Okay, T. Both true Mets fans with great insight and knowledge of the game. Keep it up, fellas. Also, if you're ever on Long Island, feel free to stop by the Rabbit's Foot Bar for some drinks on the house. T, I don't know when we will ever be back on Long Island. We were in the Hamptons this past few days. Great time out there. Good pool, good beach, all that. Crazy fancy out there. We saw Alec Baldwin, fun fact, just roaming the streets as a normal person, because he is. But if we're ever back on Long Island, we'll be heading right to the Rabbit's Foot, and we will be taking you up on those free drinks.
Yeah, I'd love to. If again we ever wind up there, I don't know if we will. I don't know how we'll get there, but it's the seed's been planted in our heads.
Yeah, planted in our heads, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching this episode of the Mets'd Up podcast. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd Up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see the video version of this, and if you are listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. Follow James on Twitter at
James_Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. We will catch you guys after this Marlins series. Please, for the love of God, not again. I can't do this again. I can't.
Please help. Let's go, Mets. See you guys next time.